Alex Morgan had always been different from other 13-year-olds. While their classmates obsessed over social media and video games, Alex spent countless hours in their backyard workshop, tinkering with salvaged electronics and studying the stars. Their latest creation was a homemade radio telescope, cobbled together from old satellite dishes and modified ham radio equipment. Their parents worried about Alex's solitary nature, but they couldn't deny their child's brilliant mind. Dr. Morgan, a quantum physicist, and Mrs. Morgan, an electrical engineer, had passed on their love of science to their only child. Still, they wished Alex would make more friends at school. On the night everything changed, Alex was adjusting their telescope's frequency range, searching for pulsar signals. The autumn air was crisp, and clouds drifted across the stars like wispy ghosts. The old wooden chair creaked as Alex leaned forward, making minute adjustments to their equipment. The first signal came at 2:47 a.m. It wasn't the random cosmic noise Alex was used to hearing. This was different, structured, rhythmic, almost like music but following mathematical patterns that made Alex's hair stand on end. They quickly began recording the transmission, their hands trembling with excitement. The pattern repeated every 12.7 seconds exactly. Within each sequence, Alex recognized prime numbers and geometric progressions that couldn't be natural phenomena. This was deliberate communication. "Mom! Dad!" Alex called out, forgetting the late hour in their excitement. Footsteps thundered down the stairs, and their parents burst into the backyard workshop. "What's wrong?" Dr. Morgan asked, his gray hair disheveled from sleep. "Listen to this," Alex said, playing back the recording. Their mother's eyes widened as she recognized the mathematical significance of the patterns. "It's impossible," she whispered. "The signal strength, it's increasing." Over the next 3 days, the Morgan family worked tirelessly to document and analyze the transmissions. They debated whether to contact the authorities but decided to gather more data first. The signal grew stronger each hour, and Alex began noticing more complex patterns embedded within the primary sequence. On the 4th day, they picked up a new transmission, this one using Earth's own radio frequencies. The message was simple: "We come in peace." Global chaos erupted as similar messages appeared on every communication channel worldwide. Television broadcasts were interrupted, phone systems overloaded, and internet services crashed. When the massive ships appeared in orbit, visible even in daylight, panic turned to terror. Alex was the first to notice something wrong with the aliens' message. Hidden beneath the surface transmission was another signal, one using the same mathematical patterns they'd first discovered. Working through the night, they began decoding the secondary message. What they found chilled them to the bone. The hidden transmission contained detailed analysis of Earth's defenses, population centers, and strategic resources. It wasn't a message of peace, it was an invasion plan. "We have to warn everyone." Alex insisted, but their parents were skeptical. "Honey, the world's greatest scientists are analyzing these transmissions," their mother said gently. If there was a hidden message, they would have found it. But Alex knew they were wrong. Their homemade equipment, with its unusual frequency modifications, was picking up something the sophisticated government systems missed. The aliens had expected humanity's advanced technology to receive their decoy message, but they hadn't accounted for a 13-year-old's improvised radio telescope. The invasion began at dawn. The ships descended with terrible silence, their energy weapons cutting through military defenses like paper. Cities fell within hours. The Morgan family huddled in their basement, listening to increasingly desperate news broadcasts. "The pattern," Alex muttered, scribbling calculations. "There's something about the way their ships move." They were coordinating using the same mathematical sequences from the original transmission. Alex realized they could predict the aliens' attack patterns, maybe even interfere with their communications. A crash from upstairs made them all freeze. Heavy footsteps moved through their home, accompanied by an otherworldly humming. Alex's father pushed them behind some storage boxes just as the basement door burst open. The alien beings were tall and crystalline, their translucent bodies pulsing with internal light. They moved with precise, geometric patterns, just like their transmissions. Alex watched in horror as the creatures seized their parents. "Run!" their mother screamed. "Alex, run!" Their father fought back, giving Alex enough time to slip through the basement's external door. Tears streaming down their face, Alex ran into the woods behind their house. Behind them, they heard their parents' screams cut short. Alex ran until their legs gave out, finally collapsing in a hollow beneath an old oak tree. Their tablet was still in their pocket, containing all their analysis of the alien transmissions. As night fell, they could see the ships moving overhead in their terrible, precise patterns. They were alone now, but they had something no one else on Earth possessed: understanding of the aliens' true communication system. The question was, what could one 13-year-old do against an alien armada? As stars appeared between the invasion ships, Alex made a solemn vow. They would find a way to stop the aliens, no matter the cost. They owed it to their parents, to humanity, to Earth itself. In their pocket, the tablet continued recording the alien transmissions. And in Alex's brilliant, unique mind, a plan began to form. They might be just a kid, but they had one advantage: the aliens didn't know they could understand them. Sometimes the greatest power comes from being underestimated, from being overlooked. Alex had felt different their whole life, now maybe that difference would help them save the world. Standing up, they brushed off their clothes and checked their tablet's power level. They had enough battery for a few more hours of recording. Somewhere in these transmissions was the key to defeating the invaders. Alex just had to stay alive long enough to find it. The sound of alien search parties echoed through the woods. They seemed to be looking for something, or someone. Had they realized the significance of the modified radio telescope in the Morgans' backyard? Did they know someone had decoded their secret messages? Alex moved carefully through the darkness, using the tablet's analysis of alien movement patterns to avoid their search grid. They needed to find other survivors, people who would listen to their discovery. But first, they needed supplies, equipment, and a safe place to continue their work. Dawn was approaching, and with it would come new challenges. But for the first time since the invasion began, Earth had a chance, because one brilliant, brave 13-year-old refused to give up hope. Alex Morgan had always been different. Now that difference might be humanity's last chance for survival. The abandoned library stood like a fortress in the devastated city. Alex had been hiding here for 3 days, converting the basement into an improvised research station. Books on physics, mathematics, and radio engineering were scattered around their makeshift bed. Their tablet, now connected to the library's emergency generator, continued analyzing alien transmission patterns. Something about the aliens' crystalline structure nagged at Alex's mind. During their escape, they'd noticed how the invaders' bodies pulsed with light in patterns matching their communication frequencies. It wasn't just communication, it was part of their biology. The discovery came at midnight, during yet another analysis of the invasion patterns. Alex had been comparing the aliens' movement frequencies to their communication signals when they noticed the overlap. The aliens weren't just using these frequencies to communicate, they were using them to maintain their physical form. A door slammed upstairs. Alex quickly dimmed their tablet screen and held their breath. Crystalline footsteps echoed through the building, accompanied by that distinctive humming. This time, Alex focused on the sound with new understanding. The humming wasn't a weapon or a tool, it was keeping them alive. The aliens passed by Alex's hiding spot, but not before they captured a recording of the humming frequency. Hours later, their analysis confirmed the theory: the invaders' crystalline forms were held together by specific resonant frequencies. Disrupt those frequencies, and their entire physical structure could collapse. But the discovery came with a price. The aliens seemed to sense whenever Alex recorded their frequencies. Each time they captured data, search parties appeared within hours. They were being hunted. In the library's physics section, Alex found books on resonance and wave propagation. They began to understand why their modified radio telescope had detected the hidden messages. The aliens' technology operated on principles of crystalline resonance, completely different from Earth's electronic systems. A distant explosion rocked the building. The aliens were systematically destroying city infrastructure, herding survivors toward their processing centers. Alex had seen the long lines of captured humans, marched into the crystalline ships, never to return. Their tablet beeped, another transmission intercepted. This one was different, containing details about something called the harvesting. Alex's blood ran cold as they decoded the message. The aliens weren't just invading Earth, they were planning to convert all organic matter into crystalline forms like themselves. They had to share this information, but who would believe a 13-year-old? The military was in shambles, and most government facilities had fallen. Alex needed proof, something undeniable. The answer came from an unexpected source. While hiding from another search party, Alex took shelter in the library's music section. A book on acoustic physics caught their eye, specifically, a chapter on sympathetic resonance and crystal wine glasses. Simple frequencies could shatter glass by matching its resonant frequency. Could the same principle work on a larger scale? Alex began experimenting with their tablet's frequency generator, carefully shielded to avoid detection. They started with small crystalline fragments left behind by the aliens. The first tests failed, but Alex noticed the crystals flickered when exposed to certain frequency combinations. They were getting closer. A week into their experiments, Alex made contact with other survivors. Dr. Emily Torres, a quantum physicist who'd escaped from a nearby research facility, was the first to take them seriously. Her eyes widened as Alex demonstrated their findings. "Incredible," she whispered, watching a crystal fragment vibrate under specific frequencies. "The dimensional stability of their forms, it's all frequency-based." "But how did you?" "My telescope," Alex explained. "I modified it to search for unusual patterns. When they first arrived, I picked up their real transmissions, not just the peace message everyone else got." More survivors joined them, creating a hidden research group in the library basement. Dr. Torres provided scientific validation for Alex's theories, helping refine the frequency calculations. But time was running out. The aliens were becoming more aggressive in their search patterns. They seemed especially interested in facilities with acoustic or radio equipment. Had they realized their weakness had been discovered? Alex worked tirelessly, helping develop a prototype disruption device. But each test, even on small samples, drew more alien attention. They needed a way to test their theories without alerting the invaders. The breakthrough came from Alex's original recordings. By analyzing the peace message broadcast, they discovered a way to mask their experiments using the aliens' own transmission patterns. It wasn't perfect, but it gave them precious time to work. One night, Alex snuck out to gather more crystal samples. They had nearly reached a promising collection site when an alien patrol appeared. In their panic to hide, Alex dropped their tablet. The screen cracked, but it continued recording. The aliens approached the tablet, their crystalline bodies humming in that familiar pattern. But instead of destroying it, they began interfacing with it directly. Alex watched in fascination as new data flowed across the cracked screen. What they saw confirmed their worst fears. The harvesting wasn't just about converting humans, it was about converting the entire planet into a crystalline form. Earth was to become a node in a vast network of transformed worlds. Alex retrieved the tablet after the aliens moved on, their hands shaking as they reviewed the new information. They now understood why the aliens used such precise mathematical patterns. Their entire civilization was based on perfect crystalline structures. Any deviation, any discord, could shatter their carefully ordered existence. That was the key. Not just disrupting their forms, but introducing chaos into their ordered patterns. The aliens' greatest strength, their crystalline perfection, was also their greatest weakness. Running back to the library, Alex's mind raced with new possibilities. They had found more than just a weapon, they had discovered the fundamental flaw in the aliens' perfect, crystalline world. But implementing this discovery would require resources they didn't have, technology that might not exist, and sacrifices Alex wasn't sure they were ready to make. The weight of this knowledge pressed down on them like a physical force. As they reached the library's hidden entrance, Alex looked up at the alien ships hovering in the night sky. Their crystalline surfaces sparkled with mesmerizing patterns, beautiful and terrible. Somewhere up there were answers about what happened to their parents, to all the harvested humans. The choice was clear. They had to act, had to find a way to use this knowledge. The aliens had chosen Earth because they thought humans were primitive, disorganized, chaotic. They never expected that chaos could be a weapon. Alex clutched their damaged tablet close, its cracked screen still displaying the stolen alien data. Tomorrow, they would share their discoveries with Dr. Torres and the others. Tomorrow, they would begin planning humanity's counterattack. But tonight, alone in their makeshift bed, Alex finally allowed themselves to cry for their lost parents, for their lost world. The tears fell silently, each one containing a promise. The aliens would learn that their perfect crystalline order was no match for the beautiful chaos of human determination. The abandoned subway tunnels beneath the city had become humanity's last refuge. Alex stood in what was once a maintenance hub, now transformed into the Resistance's command center. Maps covered the walls, marked with alien patrol routes and harvesting centers. Their tablet, reinforced with salvaged parts, projected crystalline frequency patterns across a makeshift screen. 3 months had passed since their discovery of the aliens' weakness. Dr. Torres had helped spread the word through surviving scientific communities, gathering experts in acoustics, crystallography, and quantum physics. But it was the children who proved most valuable to their cause. "They're changing patterns again," announced Marcus, a 12-year-old math prodigy who'd escaped from a harvesting center. His fingers flew across a salvaged laptop, tracking alien movements. Every 43 minutes now, not 47. Alex nodded, updating their frequency models. The aliens were adapting, making their patterns more complex. But they couldn't change their fundamental nature, their dependence on crystalline resonance remained their vulnerability. The resistance had grown to over 200 people, with similar groups established in other cities' underground networks. Children led many of these cells, their minds more adaptable to understanding the aliens' mathematical patterns. Adults provided scientific expertise and protection, but it was the young who best grasped the invaders' weaknesses. "Movement at Junction C," reported Lisa, their 14-year-old surveillance chief. "They're searching closer to the tunnels." The aliens had noticed the disappearing humans, the growing gaps in their harvesting quotas. Their search patterns were becoming more aggressive, more focused on subterranean structures. Alex gathered their core team in the strategy room, once a ticket booth, now filled with scientific equipment. Dr. Torres spread out their latest research findings while Marcus pulled up surveillance feeds. "The crystalline conversion process is accelerating," Dr. Torres explained, pointing to atmospheric readings. "They're not just harvesting humans anymore. They're beginning to transform the environment itself." The air above ground was becoming saturated with crystalline particles. Within months, Earth's atmosphere would be unbreathable for organic life. The aliens were terraforming the planet to match their crystalline nature. "We need to strike soon," Alex said, displaying their latest frequency analysis. "But we need more data on their central control systems." That meant someone had to infiltrate a harvesting center. The children's resistance had attempted it twice before, losing good people each time. But now they had something new, prototype frequency disruptors, built from Alex's designs. I'll go, Lisa volunteered, but Alex shook their head. I need to do this. I understand their patterns better than anyone. The argument lasted hours, but in the end, they knew Alex was right. No one else could interpret the alien data quickly enough to escape if things went wrong. The mission was planned for 3 days later. Alex spent every moment preparing, memorizing patrol patterns and practicing with the frequency disruptor. The device, disguised as a simple music player, could temporarily destabilize small crystalline structures. The night before the mission, Dr. Torres found Alex in their private corner of the tunnels. The space was covered with equations and frequency diagrams, a testament to months of obsessive research. Your parents would be proud, she said softly. Alex touched the cracked tablet that still held their final recordings. I have to know if they're still alive. If the harvesting process can be reversed. Just remember, the mission comes first. We need that control center data. The infiltration began at dawn. Alex, dressed in scavenged clothes, joined a line of captured humans being marched into the harvesting center. The crystals growing from the building's surface pulsed with familiar patterns. Their frequency disruptor, hidden in a pocket, recorded everything. Each crystal formation, each resonant pulse, added to their understanding. The aliens' organization was beautiful in its complexity, but Alex could see the chaos that could shatter it. Inside the facility, they witnessed the harvesting process for the first time. Humans were placed in crystalline chambers, their organic matter slowly converted into perfect geometric forms. Alex fought back tears, scanning faces, searching for their parents. The central control room was heavily guarded, but Alex had anticipated the pattern of crystal formations around it. Using their disruptor, they created small disturbances in the outer crystals, drawing guard attention away from their true goal. What they found inside changed everything. The control systems weren't mechanical or electronic, they were purely crystalline, a vast network of resonating formations carrying information and energy. And at its heart, Alex saw something impossible. The harvested humans weren't being destroyed. Their consciousness, their very essence, was being converted into crystalline patterns. The aliens weren't killing humanity, they were preserving it in their perfect, ordered structure. Alex downloaded everything they could, their hands shaking as patterns of stored human consciousness flowed across their screen. Somewhere in this vast crystalline network were their parents, transformed but possibly still aware. An alarm sounded. Their frequency disruptions had been detected. Alex ran, using their knowledge of alien patterns to navigate the crystalline corridors. Guards converged, their geometric forms shifting to intercept. The disruptor saved their life 3 times during the escape, creating enough chaos in the aliens' perfect patterns to let them slip past. By the time they reached the surface, the entire facility was in alert status. Alex made it back to the tunnels, clutching the most valuable data humanity had recovered since the invasion. But their victory was bittersweet. The knowledge that their parents might still exist, trapped in crystalline form, would haunt their dreams. The resistance gathered to analyze the stolen data. The truth was both horrible and hopeful. The aliens genuinely believed they were helping, preserving life by converting it into their perfect, eternal crystalline structure. Their goal wasn't destruction, but transformation, making the universe ordered, perfect, and eternal. We can use this, Alex explained to the assembled group. Their control center isn't just managing the invasion, it's maintaining the patterns of everyone they've harvested. If we can disrupt it, we might free them, Dr. Torres finished. But the scale of disruption needed. Alex nodded grimly. I know. We'll need to create chaos on a scale they can't control. And we'll only get one chance. The resistance began planning their greatest operation. But Alex kept one discovery to themselves, the pattern that might locate and restore specific harvested consciousnesses. The pattern that might lead to their parents. As the others worked on the larger plan, Alex spent nights analyzing this personal frequency sequence. They knew their duty was to humanity, to Earth itself. But the hope of saving their parents burned like a star in their heart. The final battle would require sacrifices. Alex understood that better than anyone. But as they studied the crystalline patterns that might contain their family, they faced the hardest choice of all, the chance to save their parents versus the need to save the world. In their dreams, geometric patterns danced with human faces, and the line between order and chaos blurred like tears on a broken tablet screen. The old concert hall's acoustics were perfect for their experiments. Alex stood on the stage, surrounded by salvaged audio equipment and crystalline fragments. The Resistance had converted this space into their primary research facility, its underground location shielding their frequency tests from alien detection. Marcus worked at the sound board, adjusting wavelengths while Lisa monitored alien patrol patterns. Dr. Torres studied readings from their latest tests, her expression grave. "The resonance cascade is working," she reported, "but we're still missing something." The crystalline fragments they'd collected would shatter under certain frequencies, but scaling up the effect proved challenging. They needed a way to broadcast the disruption pattern globally while preventing the aliens from adapting. Alex's recent infiltration of the harvesting center had provided crucial data about the aliens' central control systems. The crystalline network that stored harvested human consciousness also regulated their entire civilization's resonance patterns. It was their strength, and potentially their destruction. "Look at this," Alex said, displaying a complex frequency pattern on their tablet. The harvested consciousnesses create interference patterns in their network. They're not completely converted, there's still chaos in the system. Dr. Torres leaned closer. Human consciousness resisting perfect crystalline order. Exactly. We're not just disrupting their physical forms, we're amplifying the natural chaos of human thought. Their breakthrough came during a failed test. A combination of frequencies had caused an unexpected reaction. The crystal fragments briefly displayed images, echoes of stored human memories. Alex recognized the phenomenon from their time in the harvesting center. The frequencies aren't just destroying the crystals, they explain to the assembled resistance. They're releasing the stored consciousness patterns. We can free everyone they've harvested. But the price would be heavy. Their calculations showed that disrupting the aliens' control network would release an enormous amount of energy. Anyone near a broadcast point would be exposed to lethal levels of crystalline resonance. "We'll need multiple broadcast stations," Dr. Torres said, marking locations on their map. "Synchronized perfectly." "I'll coordinate from the main station," Alex volunteered, knowing it would be the most dangerous position. The plan took shape. They would use the city's old emergency broadcast system, modified with their frequency generators. Teams of children, their minds best suited to maintaining the complex patterns, would operate each station. Alex spent days programming the broadcast sequences, weaving in the chaotic patterns of human consciousness. Each line of code might help free a trapped soul, might help free their parents. The Resistance moved carefully, setting up their equipment under cover of night. The aliens had grown more aggressive, their search patterns becoming erratic as they sensed the growing disorder in their network. During a test of the emergency broadcast system, they discovered another effect of their frequencies. The crystalline particles in Earth's atmosphere began to dissolve, reversed by the same patterns that would disrupt the aliens. They had a chance not just to defeat the invasion, but to restore Earth's environment. The night before the operation, Alex sat alone in the concert hall, running final diagnostics. Their tablet displayed the special frequency pattern they discovered, the one that might locate specific harvested consciousnesses. "I know you're thinking about using it," Dr. Torres said, joining them. "To find your parents." Alex nodded. "If I route it through the main broadcast station, I might be able to target their specific patterns. But it would weaken the overall disruption effect. It might give the aliens time to adapt." The choice tormented them. The Resistance had identified 7 broadcast stations they could secure. Using one for a focused rescue attempt meant reducing their chances of overall success. A distant explosion rocked the concert hall. The aliens were getting closer, their search patterns becoming more focused. They were running out of time. Alex made their decision. They deleted the personal rescue sequence from their tablet, tears falling on the cracked screen. Their parents would understand. They had to think of everyone, not just their family. The Resistance mobilized at midnight. Teams moved into position at each broadcast station, armed with frequency generators and the courage of youth. Adult survivors provided security, protecting the stations from alien patrols. In the concert hall, Alex calibrated the main broadcast system. The stage where musicians once played would now conduct a symphony of chaos, designed to shatter the aliens' perfect crystalline order. Marcus reported from his station. Crystalline density increasing in all sectors. They know we're up to something. They're scared, Alex realized. They can feel the disorder we're creating. The aliens' response confirmed their theory. Crystal formations grew at unprecedented rates, trying to impose order on the increasing chaos. The invaders were revealing their fundamental nature, an obsession with perfect structure that couldn't tolerate disorder. Alex looked at their tablet one last time, fingers hovering over the deleted rescue sequence. They could still reconstruct it, still try to save their parents. But humanity needed them to be stronger than that. The final hours before their attack were filled with preparation and quiet goodbyes. Everyone knew the risks. The children who would operate the broadcast stations faced the greatest danger, but they understood their role in Earth's salvation. As dawn approached, Alex addressed the Resistance one last time. They spoke not as a 13-year-old, but as humanity's last hope against an enemy that would transform everything they loved into cold, perfect crystal. The aliens think their order is superior to our chaos, they said. They want to make everything perfect, unchanging, eternal. But they don't understand, it's our imperfection that makes us strong. Our chaos, our complexity, our ability to adapt and change, that's what makes us human. The Resistance teams moved to their positions. Alex took their place at the main controls, surrounded by the equipment that would orchestrate their desperate plan. In their pocket, their tablet hummed with alien transmissions. The invaders were moving, sensing the coming attack. The crystalline network pulsed with increasing energy as they tried to maintain their perfect order. But perfection was about to meet chaos, and the universe would discover which was truly stronger. The concert hall trembled as alien ships converged overhead. Alex's fingers flew across the control panel, coordinating with the other broadcast stations. Their tablet displayed a countdown, 5 minutes until synchronized activation. Crystal formations at critical density, Marcus reported through the static-filled comm system. They're trying to block our broadcast frequencies. The aliens had realized their plan, responding with desperate intensity. Crystalline structures erupted from the ground, forming a lattice of perfect geometric patterns designed to maintain their control network. All stations, initiate warm-up sequence, Alex commanded. The old speakers hummed to life, preparing to broadcast their symphony of chaos. The first attack came 3 minutes before launch. Crystalline beings burst through the walls, their forms shifting into weapon configurations. Security teams engaged them with frequency disruptors, buying precious seconds. Station 3 is down. Lisa's voice crackled through the comm, 2 and 5 reporting heavy resistance. Alex quickly recalibrated the broadcast pattern. They could compensate for the loss of some stations, but they needed at least 4 to achieve global coverage. Their fingers danced across the controls, redistributing power loads. A massive crystal formation punched through the stage beside them. Alex dove behind the equipment rack as alien forms emerged, their surfaces pulsing with warning patterns. You understand us, the nearest being transmitted, its crystalline surface forming mathematical symbols. You see our patterns. Join us in perfection. Alex stood, clutching their tablet. You're wrong about perfection. Human consciousness isn't meant to be crystallized. The alien advanced. Chaos is death. Order is eternal. Your resistance disrupts the grand pattern. Our chaos is our strength, Alex replied, activating their frequency disruptor. The alien's outer layer cracked, but others were already emerging. 2 minutes to broadcast, Marcus announced. Station 4 is under heavy attack. The resistance fighters were being overwhelmed. The aliens had committed everything to stopping them, recognizing the existential threat to their perfect order. Alex reached for the backup controls, ready to trigger an emergency activation. They might not achieve global coverage, but a localized burst could still free thousands of harvested humans. A familiar pattern caught their eye. A crystalline formation near the stage was pulsing with unique frequencies. Alex recognized the sequence. It matched the one they'd been searching for, the one they'd deleted. Their parents were here, transformed into crystal, part of the alien attack force. Time seemed to freeze as Alex faced their nightmare. The crystalline forms that had once been their mother and father advanced with the other aliens, their patterns showing no recognition. The conversion was complete, their consciousness subsumed into the perfect order. 1 minute, Marcus called. Alex could still reconstruct the rescue sequence. Their fingers knew the pattern by heart. But using it would disrupt the broadcast, giving the aliens time to adapt. Every second spent trying to save their parents would put the entire mission at risk. The choice that had tormented them for weeks now demanded an answer. 30 seconds. Station 6 is offline. Tears streamed down Alex's face as they made their decision. Their hands returned to the main controls, entering the final broadcast sequence. They looked at the crystalline forms of their parents one last time. I love you, they whispered. I'm sorry. 15 seconds. The aliens surged forward, realizing their danger. Crystal weapons formed, aimed at the broadcast equipment. Alex's security team fell back, their disruptors depleted. 10 seconds. Alex completed the activation sequence. The speakers thrummed with building power. On their tablet, they watched the remaining stations synchronize. 5 seconds. The crystalline beings reached the stage. Alex stood their ground, hands steady on the controls. In the alien forms before them, they saw flickers of humanity, countless consciousness patterns struggling against perfect order. Broadcast initiated. The chaos sequence erupted from every speaker, every amplifier. Crystalline structures shattered as human consciousness broke free from geometric prison. The aliens screamed in mathematical patterns as their perfect network collapsed. Alex held the controls steady as resonance waves tore through their body. The main broadcast station was the focal point of an energy maelstrom, but they couldn't let go. The pattern had to be maintained. Through disintegrating crystal walls, they saw the sky. The alien ships were falling, their perfect forms dissolving. Earth's atmosphere was clearing, crystalline particles reverting to their natural state. The alien before them, the one that had been their mother, stared with fractaling eyes. Why reject perfection? Because imperfection is what makes us human, Alex answered, their voice weak from the resonance exposure. And humanity is worth saving. The crystal beings shattered. Released consciousness patterns filled the air like aurora borealis, each one seeking its original form. Alex saw their parents' patterns among them, finally free. The broadcast reached its crescendo. Across the planet, crystalline structures collapsed. Harvested humans reformed, restored by the same chaos that destroyed their prison. The aliens' perfect order dissolved into beautiful disorder. Alex's vision blurred as resonance radiation overwhelmed their systems. They couldn't let go of the controls, the pattern had to be maintained until the transformation was complete. Their tablet displayed the final calculations, 12 more seconds to ensure permanent reversal. In their last moments, Alex saw the sky clearing, felt the pulse of liberated human consciousness, and knew their sacrifice had meaning. They had chosen humanity over family, the many over the few, chaos over perfect order. As consciousness faded, they smiled. The universe would remember that Earth's salvation came not from perfect order, but from the beautiful chaos of a 13-year-old's love, determination, and sacrifice. The Crystal Age ended. Humanity returned. And in stories told for generations, they spoke of the child who proved that imperfection was strength, that chaos could defeat order, and that the greatest power comes not from imposing patterns, but from having the courage to break them. In the end, Alex Morgan had saved not just their world, but the very essence of what it meant to be human. Their sacrifice showed that true perfection lies not in unchanging crystal, but in the endless, beautiful chaos of life itself.